Go
right,
toe-to-toe.
Well, time for picks and bans to come up here. Game 2 is going to start up. So we get ready for this one, and there goes Sylvanas.
Then
right
it's going to be
Al
Guang, then it's going to be Hercules, then it's going to be Serket.
Okay, we'll see if that pans out.
Well, I mean, what else can you ban?
That's
I mean,
very
Guang
true.
can't be in there, Sylvanas can't be in there, Serket can't be in there, and now we've learned, it's going to be a Cyrus again.
It's going to be the same ban.
So one thing before you guys get into it, just real quick note, SK lost that match, and they had the choice of first or second. They went first again. They want first pick.
Yeah, they wanted Thor. I mean, I can see that, but honestly,
There's Herc.
Zyros just needs to hit more ultimates and be more careful with his hammer positioning.
I think we might see the same exact...
No, Afro.
Now they're pulling basically the same thing like yesterday. They're doing something that doesn't work. They need to be able to adapt their picks to what they're up against. I don't think Afro's a good choice here. I just don't agree with it.
Maybe not the best of choices
So
there.
I'm confused. Maybe Maniac prefers the Aphrodite matchup against Hercules. Maybe that's like his go-to. However, it did not work last match. Maybe he's just playing it off again, just like he did the previous match, SK versus Titan, where he did poorly with Kali, and he was like, all right, second game, don't worry, boys, I got this. It could be one of those situations, but it's very similar picks coming out of SK, and I'm kind of worried.
They're just repeating what they did yesterday. You're exactly right, Zimstar. I mean, again, you're going to see Thor on zeros, which was, honestly, I think it was too close of a failure last game. A lot of missed ultimates. The walls were in place. He wasn't around the map. And the thing about Thor is, you know, use that passive early to get a strong start and then be everywhere. If you're not going to do that, you may as well play a carrying jungler, because Thor can't carry late.
Actually, we never got a chance to, but if you dissect the very last team fight they had, Zyros used his hammer to try poke down the Humbats, which missed. And what happened is just he was standing there with no escape. Hercules came in, you know, diving strike, boulder, and he's dead. So I think Zyros just, maybe Thor has been banned in most of the scrims or something, but it just seems very, very like, you know, not used to playing Thor. I think they might overemphasize the importance of Thor right now.
Now, the interesting thing here is Cognitive Red still bans Bakasura, so they aren't 100% convinced that is Aphrodite solo, which is interesting because with SK, like Zim, would SK actually pull an Afro mid?
Young Badgie is a good Afro support. I mean, you might see a good old Shadow Q.
It's the same game.
Oh.
Support.
This is deja vu here, folks.
Why would they not go? I mean, Zeros likes Thanatos, and it's a good pick against Hercules to shut down that low HP character.
It's an Afro mid, or Shock mid even. If Twig plays Shock mid too.
Shock mid, Afro. Wait, what?
It's a Shock mid.
He plays Shock mid. I've seen him play Shock mid. Lobsters plays Shock mid too. It's great. I mean, it's really hard to gank. You have the Shock ultimate, obviously.
Yep, it's
going to be Vulcan, and that's going to be all penciled in here, folks. Let's go ahead, toss it over to our casters, Gandhi and Hindu Man. Take it away, fellas.
Welcome back, boys and girls, to the caster desk for Game 2. Cogred 1-0 up in this consolation match. And at the moment, Maniac is the one that is on track at the moment. It could be Twig still, though.
It could be, we could possibly see the mid-twig. I doubt it. But what SK's doing right there is an amazing strategy if the other team gets convinced by it. So you pick Afro in the third slot, which means, okay, you know, in the current meta, she only goes solo, and then what happens is that means that Cogred wouldn't ban out Baka, which is a great matchup versus Hercules. But instead, Cogred's like, something's fishy.
Something's fishy.
What is this tomfoolery?
I mean, with the compositions on paper right now, it's going to be Captain Twig in mid lane on Aphrodite. Obviously, Aphrodite versus Agni. In the early stages of the game, Agni definitely has the early push power.
Oh, for sure.
As always, it's Agni. There's only like Isis, I think, and Poseidon that can really push him back out of that lane. So the pressure's going to be on for SK game in the early stages, Gandhi, which means the potential for invasions is quite high because then Boosh can rotate.
But on the same note, I think we're going to see a lot of action from Gars going into the mid lane. Before Afro really hits level 5, she has no escape at all. Besides, she has a kiss that can stun someone and kind of get her out of trouble. But other than that, she's going to be dead a lot. She's going to die a lot.
She'll stay under tower. That's generally how she'll do it. She'll bring up the doves. And there you go. We're going into Game 2 of SK Gaming versus Cognitive Red. Cognitive Red 1-0, as we just said. Let's see how this one plays out.
Well, if you're a fan of SK or you just want a Game 3, better make some noise every time SK gets a kill, because they're going to need all the help they can get going into this one.
Oh, if you are from the side of Cognitive Red, just give it up for your boys. Show me your support right now in the audience, guys. Add in chat.
So we are going to see the Aphrodite in the mid lane. So now she's starting off with boots, and she already has meditate. So again, DM, I hate you. Moving forward.
moving forward. Let's not have a comment on the meditate again. I guess we will have to.
Right, I know, dude. If I start going into normals and everyone's picking meditate, I'm done. I'm out.
F6.
Yeah.
F6.
No, I'm going to see an Apollo with meditate.
Please no.
Yeah, right.
Please. No.
DM's just sitting there like in like a lab coat, just like plotting.
So the early ones coming out from red over the blue buff on SK side, they may look for potential for an invade, or just to keep vision of Reels and Badger to see what they're going to do at the start of this game. A deep ward goes out by zeros over by the speed buff as well, just so they get vision of where everybody's going to start on this side. I like Devious' position in here. He was standing very far back near his tier 2 tower, just to give vision in case the rotation does happen. At the moment though, standard stuff coming out from both teams.
So SK elected to take first pick again, and I think it's really just because of the Aphrodite strat. Now we are going to see a little bit of an invade here. Zeros does have hand 2. So, okay. Oh no,
the pressure just by walking towards them says, we will fight you if you start it. Are you going to start it? No. So neither team gets a blue buff at the start of this game. So it's just going to be a straight, everybody's level 1 and trying to push this lane. The problem is that red will get the push on and be level 2. Left-hand side though, invade comes out from Badger. He's looking for the steal again.
They've done it every single time. They're consistent on it. The Bush, he's going to start rotating over there. He's got to be careful. Eyes on him.
So
Badge is going to be there. Rios is going to spot him. Does he have the Frost Breath? Nope. He doesn't want to fight. Cog Red is going to force him out, but they lose the buff. Small advantage to SK Gaming.
The benefit of that is how early it was. Though on the right-hand side, we did see Devios go into the jungle and steal away SK Gaming's blue buff. The good news, though, it is a Chak in lane, and Chak has his passive, which allows him to get free abilities off for the no cost of mana. So he's not going to be suffering too much because of that.
Yeah, but that's still, it puts him in a little bit of a dangerous position in order to get that passive up. On the left side, Ionic trying to engage is unable to do so. Badger misses everything. And now, we didn't even talk about this because I guess we were really confused about the Aphrodite, but that is a Vulcan Hunter. Now, Snoopy is notorious for it. It's super safe. It does a lot of damage, and it forces everyone out of the lane. It's very hard to play against Hindu.
It is hard to play against, but Reels played against it the first time these guys met during the qualifying stages. So what that meant was that Reels won that lane. Reels did not have a problem with this, so I feel Reels will be a little bit comfortable in this lane this time round. The problem is once again, we're going to see the team of SK Gaming, they're going to have to sit back a little bit. They're going to have to rely on Zeros on this Thor to really make the plays for his team.
Well, Zeros still has yet to even rotate over to the speed buff here. This entire Smite World Championship, all we've been seeing is speed buff. You take your own speed buff if you're on order side at around 115. It's pretty much you clear a lane and then you go ahead and go for it.
Here's the issue right now. They're going to get rotated on because the 4 members of Cog Red are coming from all angles. Zeros backs out. Twig chooses a different angle and eats a to the face.
Oh, God, no, don't die.
The first blood is not going to go just yet. Juke, Twig, you've got to live. No, he's not going to go down. Ionic taking first blood, and not a bad decision for him to take it either.
Reels goes in, hits a little bit of a poke, but that's it. On the right side, Divios makes Maniac pay again. He goes, by the way, I heard you said you were good in solo. I'm a little better, and I'm 15.
We did not catch what happened in that lane, but what we do know is there's a full minion wave sat there, Gandhi. And it looks like Maniac fought in a full minion wave. Don't know exactly how it went down, so we can't really comment much. But mid-hop he's spawning in about 15 seconds time. Keep an eye on what SK choose to do here. I think they'll just give them up.
They have to.
To an extent, they're too far behind right now.
They 100% have to give this up. And I want to see here, so Undying Love just going online now. And so sometimes when you play Aphrodite in the solo lane, you can avoid the ultimate, but she needs it because right now she's going to be taunted. Ionic doesn't have the follow-up from Boosh, but the sustain is still there for Captain Twig.
The lead is there, now you can see that around the corner you've got Dagaz waiting, looking for the Fear No Evil. Twig has hit 5 zeros, finally does get the Anvil of Dawn online as well. Maybe Dagaz goes in on this. He's trying to hope the Boosh pokes down a bit. They're looking for him to either engage or for Boosh to get a really good stun so he can come in.
Gar's just anxiously waiting. He's monkeying around. It's the worst pun I could possibly make, but I had to do it, yeah.
Good job. Only the World Championships, you know.
Yeah, someone had to do it, right?
Yeah, eventually.
I had to.
It's normally me. It's normally me and you do it for me. Right-hand side, though, Chak going aggressive, clearing out the wave with the Hog once again. Needs to be careful again in this lane as Devious is in control once again, has that Meditate online, so Meditate on both teams.
Yep. Ionic also has Midas boots already.
The reason he has Midas boots already is because they got both mid Harpies, as well as he was the one that secured the first blood. The first blood gave him that extra gold, means that he's going to have more mobility and extra sustained zeros.
Here it comes.
A little bit with the Onyx coming in as well. This could be trouble for Zeros. He's got to
Get out of dodge.
Barest amount of health, but it will cost him something because the blue buff is spawning, and they should know that because he took it last time. Maniac,
Watch out. Yeah, watch out right side. Ionic, he's getting ready to dive in. Maniac, you got to be careful. He got knocked up. He's going to get taunted. He's got 4 members looking at him, and he's going to survive. That is fantastic play coming out of Maniac. He silenced everyone, stopped a 4-man gank, and meanwhile, his teammates, they weren't able to steal the red buff.
No, they wouldn't. I mean, they stole the blue buff away, though, from Snoopy, which is a good thing to do. I mean, Vulcan does require a little bit of mana to keep his spamming going in that lane. So denying the blue buff is good. The same thing, though, happened on the right-hand side by Cog Red. They stole that one away once again from Maniac.
And the more you can keep Agni down, the better. So Agni, he has insane mobility. He has a bunch of chains that synergize very, very well with him. He's the definition of balanced. He is a fantastic god. He is a guaranteed A-list. So you want to make sure you're always aggressing on him any way you can.
Well, the good news is for SK Gaming, they have 3 gods that are going to be up in their face. Ymir up in your face. Thor up in their face. And as well as that, they're going to have Chuck as well. And with Afro linking to those gods, Gandhi, they should have good sustain.
So looking at the gold difference between Chalk and Hercules, or Maniac and Divios, you're going to see it's about 900 disparity there. So Hercules already has Runeforged Hammer as well as Chalk, but he's got level 1 of the boots, and he has Meditate. Chalk only has Hand of the Gods level 1.
Yeah, he's about 800 gold behind, and that's where the disparity is right now. The thing is, Chuck will still build tanky. He's still going to be effective in the later stages of the game. Unlike Afro, who's going to have to build defensively and not get any offense out, this Chuck can still go full defense and still do the job he's there for.
That's going to hurt them a lot as well, by the way. Yeah, I mean, Afro has to build a little bit, and they're not going to have that big magical damage in team fights.
Well, we'll see how she's going to play this one out, because, yeah, you're on par with that. It's going to be down to Twig to do all that magical damage. And so in doing so, I expect him to just go full magical and hope his team will be the control for him so he can actually do something.
Yeah, and traditionally, you always see CDR boots coming out on Afro. In the mid lane, you want to have the pen.
Yeah, you do want to have the penetration. Speed buff is available right now for Zeros, though, so he's going to go over and take that one up for himself. Not going to lose it this time round. 7 minutes in, we've got a 3,000 experience lead, 2,000 gold lead in favor of Red again.
And Red's just going to continue to aggress on this. Maniac barely missing that melee on the right side to stop him from backing. Very, very unfortunate, but regardless, next point of contention here, we're going to be looking at the Gold Fury. Mid Harpies aren't coming up until about 9:40, so.
Well, they're all hanging around the Gold Fury area, but they can see there's no rotations really coming out from SK Gaming. They haven't understand there must be a ward in that area. Devios just went back to base as well, and that's why you can see Degar's go back himself to pick up that sentry.
Afro's going to stay linked. Now, the big thing about staying linked is that she can not only use back off, but on top of that, she can put Undying Love onto Thor if he ever gets in trouble, which will save him.
And on top of that too, it gives Thor more mobility. Whoever she's linked to gets more mobility. But once again, in mid lane, aggression is turned onto a pair of them. Red couldn't really make a decision there, get the pick onto either, so they both get away scot-free.
That was a brilliant Undying Love. I mean, she broke the CC, she kept Thor alive. That was a very, very big play from Cog Red that got shut down by the elite play of Captain Twig.
Good double tap coming out from Zeros there, a little bit of aggression, but you can see that with those Sentry wards, they've just been back to buy. Red now secure the Gold Fury, and Badger's desperate to get some vision on it and make sure they don't start it, and that's what they're doing.
Sweet baby Divios, he's going to be rotating over. Fear no evil's going to be there. Captain Twig's gone. Thor comes crashing down. He's looking for Gars. Here comes Divios. He's got to get out of here. Reels is in the backline. He's focusing on Divios. Not the best choice. Here comes Maniac. Maniac's like, well, I can't do anything here.
One for zero exchange, very, very quick pickup onto Captain Twig of all people as well, who's the one that's the magical damage and there's one that's supposed to keep the team alive. The Gold Fury wasn't started though, but it did give another little small lead in favor of Cog Red.
SK needs something. They gotta win at least one team fight. They need a big objective. Right now, they're doing okay staying in this, but you can see Cog Red starting to get antsy. They want to force the fights as much as possible because they have that lead.
Well, once again, Devios going to invade the blue buff, and Maniac, you see how he uses the boulder to double tap it against the wall to clear it quicker. Maniac wants to contest, but the hog is done, and now they're going to turn their attention to Devios as Zeros comes in.
Oh.
This is the driving strike, but the meditation.
Oh, Zeros, no!
And the heal. The dunk is used defensively there by Chak to silence them out and force to disengage, but that's another ultimate down.
Yeah, and you notice that Aphrodite was there. Aphrodite's going to get caught in the mid. Hunbats is going to be able to do a lot on her, and that her health bar is just depleting. He could have went in. He could have went in again, but he decided against it.
He didn't need to. They got another ultimate out of that again, Gandhi, and that means these ultimates are not going to be available for when something goes on elsewhere. Devious looking for a driving strike on the right. You see his position where he did like a moonwalk there. He was looking desperately to try and pick it up, but meanwhile, tower goes down for Devios.
Yep, Maniac has no mana at all. Devios has done an amazing job of controlling not only his own blue buff, but SK Gaming's. And going into this event, I pretty much said if you lose your blue buff off the beginning, you should probably lose the lane and the game.
It can cause some issues, but it all depends on what god it is, Gandhi, because some gods can get away with not having the blue buff. Mages are the ones that generally struggle a little bit more without having the blue buff available. Warriors, to an extent, can get away with it. Devios, you know, he realizes that mana is an issue with that particular warrior, and he's dominating it very, very well.
Yeah, what it frees him up to do is using Driving Strike as much as humanly possible on the wave to always keep the pressure on. That's his wave clear. Now, eyes are going to be on the mid lane. The speed buff is coming up. Cog Red has a relative idea as to when it's going to be there, but I'm not sure if they're going to go for it. Iannic's going to throw a deep ward down there, which is going to give them vision, but it looks like they're just going to pull back and work together as a unit.
This is an EU pace of the game as well. It looks like NA is starting to adapt to EU sort of pace, but the thing is they're winning out at the moment. Badger is just trying to get in some sort of position to do something, but slowly but surely, the reason they're all just hanging around waiting for buffs to spawn now. They can't go deeper, they can't farm that well, and the problem with this Gandhi is they've got to fall further and further behind in experience.
Captain Twig loves his wing blade. He's going to be building into that even on Aphrodite.
Well, he's going to...
He loves it.
I mean, Vulcan has slows on the passive. He's also got to deal with the slow from Athena from the preemptive strike. He's also got the slow to deal with from Humbats. So there's multiple reasons that it will be effective for him to use.
Tier 2, heavy hammer coming out here from Devios. He is looking to put down as much damage as possible onto Maniac, who just has boots and the Rune Forge hammer. So there's going to be a lot of damage mitigated here in these team fights. But when you look at the levels, Devios 14 on the other side, Maniac level 11. That is the big problem.
Well, Athena's level 12 on Captain Twig, and that's actually even with Agni right now, but the difference is we can see a weakening curse coming out on Ionic here as well. The aggression coming out once again. They're looking for something in the mid stages there. Devios just tanking up a storm once again. Doesn't find the Earthbreaker for now, but what that does do is set up an opportunity for the Gold Fury once again.
The worst part about that is Devios is probably just like sitting there like chuckling, like just giggling to himself, like, I took so much damage.
I'm so good at this game.
Driving Strike hits 3, Zeros is in a lot of trouble. Boulder hits 3, Devios finds 1. Can he find a second? Undying Love's there, Garsh finds another one. Maniac, his health dropping, he's down. Snoopy gets that kill. Badges on the backside, so is Reels. They want no piece of this.
Devios is playing out of his mind. He just stood there and went, what up, boys? Let's go. 3v1, let's have a party. And it worked out great.
Look at him. Look at the camera in the bottom right.
Look at
that
that
is the look of dominance. He's just giggling. If he sat closest to SK, I couldn't do it. They would be so mad. Reels would probably throw his keyboard.
He would at him, at his face.
Yeah.
That's
No.
true.
That's BM, bro.
That's BM. Giggling is not BM.
Yeah, the keyboard throwing, man.
Okay. Left-hand Harpies, though, go to Cog Red, as well as that Gold Fury, and the right one soon to follow as well. The lead is starting to snowball once again. Hercules is an issue.
I said before, I made the tweet, I said ban Herc. I think you ban Herc out, give him Osiris. I think it's easier matchups to deal with going up against an Osiris than it is a Hercules right now in this current meta.
Well,
I mean, how do you deal with it? What, you go Chang'e with Divine Ruin?
Chang'e, Bakasura, but Bakasura's banned out, but there's an engage from SK. They need to make something happen. They're looking for the monkey, but all that's left is the mighty Hercules, and now Athena is alongside with the taunt. Devios finds another kill once again, and he's going to turn his attention to Chak with the Earthbreaker connecting. They're not going to dive the tower, though. There's no one rotating round because everybody else is in trouble, too. Even Reels has to back out.
Reels got forced out there by the Snoopaloop, who is just shoving down this lane with the Vulcan. The last time these two met up, which was on Friday, SK actually won, which is kind of same strategy.
Twig's in trouble again. The Undying Love, he just needs to juke out to heal up again, but the Rain of Fire lands. He'll be okay for now, but once again, he's going to have to base.
I mean, there's a lot of eyes on Twig right now. I mean, not only is he playing an Aphrodite mid, but he's also kind of the glue to this team. He does so much damage in general in team fights, but on top of that, his positioning is normally flawless. Right now, it's not at that level.
I think Twig this tournament has played the best I've seen him for quite a while.
For sure.
Oh, now we can see once again they're looking for an opportunity wherever they can. Red, they're not going to get the red buff this time. SK Gaming do get that for themselves. I don't even know if stalling's the best idea here, honestly, for SK Gaming, because when I look through the team compositions, I feel as the game goes on, I still feel Red are in control.
For sure. And Rio's just spotted one. They have no vision even on the Gold Fury side. Now, granted, Gold Fury's not going to be up for 2 minutes and 55 seconds, but still, at the end of the day, you need some kind of wards. They finally have one down on the right side, which is going to give them vision if they come from mid, and now they have the full pathing. That's big. So you're going to see that SK has to do all defensive wards, whereas COG Red's like, oh, we just have to ward at your red and your speed? Cool.
Yep, ward of the red and the speed. The line of ward straight across is the key part of that. You want to ward in a straight line, just make sure you got full vision of the jungler rotations. Zeros hasn't had an opportunity to really get into this game, in fairness. He took a while to get to level 5 because of the mid-camp loss as well. And once again, Devios just keeping this pressure on this right-hand side. Someone's going to have to come over to deal with it, but if they do, there's potential for Reels to be in trouble on the left. And talking about Reels on the left,
Oh, God, Hunbats, fear no evil. This is a lot of ults. They have to get the kill. They do get it. They have secured it. That's going to be Zeros rotating over. Yannick's going to take the tower for just a second here. Aphrodite could be in a decent amount of trouble here in the middle. She's got hurt. The Undying Love's going to do it. She gets catapulted up. Boulder's going to miss. Captain Twig managing to stay alive. And there's going to be the silence coming out of Maniac. Fantastic play to stop that. They've only lost one thus far.
Yeah, they've lost one for so far, but they're not getting anything out of this. They're only defensively surviving. It's like a game of how long can you live, not a game of how can we win.
I'm all for living.
Well, I'm all for winning more.
Yeah, fair. Turn up.
Turn up. Anyway, we're all going to group in mid now. Is SK Gaming, 4 members looking to group. The right-hand Harpies are going to go to red before SK can even get there. I don't even think grouping up's a good idea because Agni's doing damage and so is Devios, and now Maniac has to just do zoning duty there with that rain dance to try and slow them down and keep them away. They want to desperately defend these objectives. This tier 1 tower is very important as it's the last one remaining for SK.
So this is that awkward moment for warriors in the meta, right? If you lose your lane, you have to build tanky. But the problem is, COG Red's going to go, okay, Maniac does a little bit of damage, but we don't have to waste any resources on him because we'll kill him after we kill his entire team. So he's not doing enough damage, but he's got enough health. So you have to flirt with that line. Driving strikes are going to hit him, and you can see the difference in damage there.
Well, look at the level difference, 18 to 14. And there's a 4-level advantage right now in favor of Devios. And the other thing is, people keep turning up to Maniac's lane now to try and support him, but in doing so, it also steals more experience away from him, which means he's still not going to catch up very quick.
I almost wonder if he should have bought teleport.
There comes a top from Ionic going in, but forces the Undying Love there, I believe.
Yeah.
And there's a stun from Boosh. Twig who uses the meditate to get his mana back online. They're trying desperately to defend, but meanwhile Snoopy split pushing left, keeping Reels busy too.
Snoopy doing a good job. Now Apollo does have the ability to rotate over here if he does want so. Double tap's not gonna hit. Maniac's gonna rotate over, trying to help out the team as best he can, but this tier 1's gone.
Yep, they lose the mid tower down. It's a good siege from Red. Snoopy's keeping Reels at bay. Reels can't do anything here apart from stay. Now, where is Red gonna do? Well, the Gold Fury is available. And with these wards they've already got down, there's only one given vision. There's Ionic coming back in though. Nice wall coming out from Zero.
Good job.
Saves that. But once again, it's all defensive duties from SK.
I'm surprised we didn't see an aggressive wall there from Ymir coming out to just kind of block him off. Granted, it would have been Divios at the time, but they still could have done a decent amount of damage.
They could have done a bit decent amount of damage. Devios there.
Like when I say like a little bit, it's like maybe 100 damage to him.
Yep. Oh, I love Devios there, trying to get the Earthbreaker. Ah, yeah! Take that. Badger's like, yeah, you missed it. I'm going to give you a wall in your face. How rude are you? But still, while that's going on, Gold Fury goes over to Cognitive Red, and Devios did his duty.
Divios is just, he's the perfect distraction right now. He's done everything in his power. Maniac's starting to feel a little bit gutsy. He's like, okay, I can make it past where my tier 1 tower used to be. I'm okay. This is the furthest I've been in about 5 minutes. Divios, however, able to steal the red.
While that's going on, the left-hand side tier 2 is going to go. No one's there to defend it. SK Gaming are giving up more advantages. It's 8-0. This is getting out of hand.
it's getting ugly. This is the COG Red we expected to see going against SK on Friday, but SK came out on top. So the battle of North America and Europe in this third, fourth console looks like it's going to be going to COG Red.
Well, can SK do anything about that? They have to make a stand at some point, and Maniac's trying to do some sort of work on the front line. Meanwhile, though, the fight in the back is starting to reach. Zeros dunks in, but Zeros is evaporated in seconds, and now Maniac is the one on the front line trying to do something. Reels to the rescue.
Oh no, Reels not to the rescue. Reels put himself in a lot of danger. You got to get out of there, buddy. Finally, Maniac's going to drop to Ionic. Ionic has another guy in his sight, driving straight to the face. Aphrodite gets swarmed up by Afro. Whew.
Signs of resignation on the faces from
That's not good.
You can see the cameras on the SK Gaming boys, and it's kind of signs of like, well, this didn't work.
Yeah, right. They're like, well, we gave it our best.
At least we came to America and won some money.
Well, when we kind of came into this, right, SK was like, we're not worried about Divios. We're kind of worried about the Boosh. Now, rightfully so, but Maniac, you have to respect your opponent at the end of the day, and Maniac didn't pay any respect to him. They were like, okay, we'll ban out Osiris, it's cool, but anyone else I'm not worried about.
I mean, to be fair, all solo laners these days, Gandhi, they all have a deep god pull. There's not many that don't have a god pull to themselves. They have to have magical, they have to have physical to the name. Divios is one of the exceptions, though, because generally he will try and play warriors and such.
Yeah, Divios, it's funny because during the SPL, when mages were the thing, they were the hot ticket in the solo lane, he played them all. He played the Jean Quays, and his Giannis play was just amazing.
Yeah, it was really, really good to see his Giannis play coming out. Surprised with...
We haven't seen a Giannis this event.
We haven't. I'm really surprised by that, too. 11-0, though. SK Gaming. Is it the beginning of the end for them? The blue buff gets taken down. The Fire Giant is available at 21 minutes in this game. Red look like they're going to take first blood for North America in these NA versus EU finals.
It's so sad to see. Twig already had to sell his Vampiric Shroud, so he had enough money to get the Chronos online. So he's looking at max CDR right now with the Winged Blade, which is good for him, but this is going to be a Fire Giant started by COG Red. I don't know how SK can do it. When you look at the charts, it is 19,000 experience difference, 15,000 gold difference.
SK Gaming, I don't think will surrender, though. SK Gaming will not surrender this. They will play it out. They will hope. They will try. They have seen the impossible happen on multiple times, either with them, against them, or all about them. But right now, it's unlikely anything is going to happen that's going to save them from looking like defeat. Another tower drops.
Well, Zero's taken to the sky. Here comes the engagement. It's going to be on the Phoenix. Ionic goes in. Up goes one. Captain Twig's in a lot of trouble. Maniac's on the backside. Where did Thor go? He went into the middle. They took out Snoopy. This is going to be a 5-on-4. They're showing signs of life. Fire Giant is still on COG Red. COG Red's going to turn, trying to get Reels. Unable to do so. SK's going to turn it.
Badger's wall was really good there, but he's not been able to do anything else. They did pick up Snoopy with split pushing mid. They've held for now. They've got their first kill of the game when they had Fire Giant. SK Gaming, this is what...
Oh my God, that was the first kill of the game.
That was the first kill of the game, and they all had Fire Giant. One little mistake. Here comes Ionic again with the taunt. Earthbreaker does not connect on the backside there. Real Captain Twig. Fear No Evil comes out from the guards as well. Divios finds his second kill, and now it looks like...
This is big.
Favorite Red.
This could be the final push. COG Red just looking for it. Badger's just going to run away. He's like, hey, man, I'm out. And Divio says, up you go. Maniac in the middle of all of it. And now COG Red just relentless. At this rate, COG Red will be able to take this. They get a double kill for guards. Maniac's the last one. Deicide. Cognitive Red is going to push down the Phoenix. Next is the Titan. It looks as though they will be your third place team here at the Smite World Championship. Put your hands together for COG Red.
Fantastic play from all the boys and all the representatives.
Look at Divvy. Look at my little Divios.
So happy with themselves. They deserve to be as well. They've done their country proud. They took the game away from EU.
Well, definitely not going to do a disservice to SK either, though they had an amazing time.
I didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't either.
I don't think EU did either, in fairness.
Hey.
I feel so sorry for them starting
Can you give me America? Yeah, can you say it for me since...
Are they Canadian?
America. Just say it.
America.
No, America. M-U-R-I-C-A.
America.
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 All right, there you go. Golden Boy, take it away, buddy.
Thank you.
So it is actually spelled M-U-R-R-I-C-A. Okay, so
Apostrophe?
again, yeah. So Scott, I understand you were raised in the mountains, but I would appreciate it if you got Murica spelled correctly.
Murica.
He's gonna be so mad at me, by the way, after I did.
I can hear him running right now.
Yeah, he's running over your stomach with his massive hillbilly feet.
He's
Anyway,
gonna tackle you off the screen.
if you guys don't know, me and Scott go like way back. You dig? Anyway, moving forward. Great matchup out of Cog Red. I mean, it's just such a showing out of them. They are now, what is this? $391. $100,000 richer. Numbers elude me. $839,000 richer. Congratulations to Cog Red, those boys. 15 years old, that Divios, and that whole team, super young, taking home that amount of money. Invest it, children. Invest it. Okay. Do
Equity.
not do yes.
Equity.
Okay. Do not
Interest.
Do not blow it all in one place. Okay. That fancy PC might seem eluding, but don't do it. Anyway, let's go over to you, Ally. What are your thoughts in regards to this?
Well, I'm very proud of Cog Red. I've known them for a long time, and I'm also very proud of SK. I've known a lot of the players for a long time. I've known Young Badgie since closed beta. I think they've come a really long way, and I'm just excited to see how they grow into Season 2. However, the biggest problem with the Constellation matches was just SK, you could tell they were kind of on tilt. It was really unfortunate. The second drafting phase, you could tell, I think they pretty much gave up. They're like, okay, like, go ahead.
To not do anything different.
Yeah, there
right?
was actually
not really
nothing happening. There was nothing happening. They picked Aphrodite early. I think it was just like not the smartest picks, maybe even troll picks. I wouldn't know, but the Aphrodite mid, I think they were trying to juke out something, but it just wasn't going in the right direction. But I definitely commend them for trying, and it was a good effort.
Yeah, it seems like a case of just not being fluid, like we were mentioning earlier. The ability to adapt in the situation and grow. And I don't see a lot of that SK. It's very rigid. They pick the same thing over and over, very, very small variation in gameplay and picks. And it seems like their picks and bans knowledge is very slim. We were talking about this during the break, Allied, the fact that games are won and lost in the picks and bans phase. If you don't pick up the right comp in the right order and get the right items, it's very easy to just lose the game outright before any gameplay is played, wouldn't you say?
I mean, I'm not captain of my team, but I definitely let everyone know on the team, especially young Cyclone Spin who just joined. I'm like, picks are 95% of the game. The rest of it is just playing out the picks with the set strategies you have. I mean, yeah, there's individual skill and gameplay factor, but you have to go into each match with respect to the other team and to yourself that everyone's at 100% of skill capacity. So if everyone's at 100% on a great day, then you have to go by picks. That's really the only way you can ever like do it in competitive play. If I pick on her into Shibalanke, it's because that's a better pick, you know, in the said matchup. The Shibalanke players going in there is like, well, I'm going to outplay you. You can't do that. I learned the hard way, trust. So it's 100%, it's 95% picks, 5% like just playing out the rest, skill, RNG factor with Fire Giant, Gold Fury, Devios' Giggles, like everything. Just everything else is the 5%.
How do you always manage to sneak in Devios' Giggles into like...
If anyone hears him talk, and I want to see like a long interview with him.
I actually
he's
hope
the
we can
happiest
interview
guy
him.
on earth.
I hope we can get like an interview with him later on.
He's all smiles, all giggles, and just like, hey, I know you're going up against the best solo laners in the entire world of this international game. How do you feel? It's really exciting. This is awesome. It's just like, you are 15 years old beating some of the best players we've ever seen, and you're so happy.
Well, Zimp, you've been a little quiet there. You know, SK had, you know, quite an unfortunate run, you know, in this tournament for them. I know that they were hoping to come out of this one with a much better placing. A lot of hype, a lot of energy that they were bringing to the table. Unfortunately for them, you know, what we saw yesterday with how they, you know, opted to play their matchup against Titan, and even today, if you're SK, what are you looking to do moving forward, especially with Season 2 on the horizon, and also, I guess, mentality as well?
Drafting, man. They lost the picks and bans. Like, every game they lost, they just got drafted. I don't know why they would go for the Afro mid. I mean, it might have worked in scrims or so, but SK is such a good team. Why go for the cheese or whatever? Just play the picks that you know how to play and just outplay people. I mean, that's what they did to Red the other time. You don't need to go for this weird. It's just weird. I'm a bit confused. Like, I just think Europe in general has way worse drafting than NA. I mean, in this tournament, just proving that, you know. So I'll give you guys that.
Well, the game starts with picks and bans, but it also, you have to talk about the early game, and the first thing we like to see is the first blood, right?
That's
the first blood is always the thing we talk about and what sets the pace of the game. So Logitech first blood for that last match was, you know, not too surprising, right? You're going to see Iana kind of come through here, and this just came out from pure aggression. Cogred knew they had the advantage, beautiful taunt, and the body block came out. It was almost a save there. From Zero's getting the block. There goes the rotation. Ionic makes sure he secured it, which, you know, even that situation, it's rough to lose first blood, but you can see that that ended on a fresh movement speed buff. And so right after first blood, they pick up a movement speed buff. And we talk a lot about Divios, Golden Boy, but just the team play they have overall is fantastic.
Of course, their team play is phenomenal, but yet again, the player of the game, the gamer launch player of the game is Divios. This young man, so talented, 8 KDA there. He went on a 5-kill spree. He had 1 multi-kill to his name. Just an absolute beast. And in the words of my dear friend, the great Scott Gandhi, a savage. This kid is just too good. I'm expecting so much out of him. Again, he's young. He's going to experience so much in his life, so much in his career, and he's going to grow a lot. And I think that's the fun part about all this. What we're witnessing here is a young man. Actually, let's take that back. A team filled with young men who are starting to come into their own, and they are going to see more success, and they are going to continue to grow just as individuals and hopefully as a team. Because I really like this team. I think they, you know, mechanically sound. Cogred is, in my opinion, unmatched, right? And in that I shouldn't say the final game of yesterday, which again might as well have just been a grand final. You know, what we witnessed was a veteran team filled with guys who have just been in this position before and know how to handle it a tad bit better, overcome the odds over the mechanically sound player. Sometimes you just can't teach that, right? Like, that's all time. That's all time, and Cogred will get there, you know, without a doubt. I would not be surprised if 2016 Smite World Championships, we end up seeing Cogred in the finals, you know, or at least a couple of the guys from Cogred.
When we talk about the veteran team Cog Prime, we were mentioning Barracuda yesterday, we were mentioning Snoopy today, we're talking about Reels all weekend long and how fantastic they are. But if you want to learn how to be a fantastic Hunter player, we're going to teach you. Let's show it.
I'm a hunter, and I play that role just because I've been playing it for about 1.5 years. Started it was the role that I liked. I feel like it's one of the harder ones just because like it's so auto attack based and it's a little different than every other role just because of that. And that kind of like stuck with me, and I've just been playing it ever since. It's
a role where you do a lot of damage, but you're also really squishy, so you have to farm items for the late game.
The reason I made it is because I used to be in support, and then discussion was there was no hunter good enough to pick up to defeat Zatman, so I brought upon myself to become hunter to be as good as Zatman Senpai.
I like to kill steal, and you get all the credit and the glory of carrying your team to victory in the late game. And there's a lot of skill shots because every single shot you fire is a skill shot, so that's where I play my hunter role.
Definitely top 2 gods are Apollo and Rama right now. They bring a lot to the team fights, they have a lot of damage, steroids, and they can get around the map pretty quickly. Apollo with his ultimate, and Rama, he's got a little bit more global presence with that ultimate as well. They also have really good boxing potential, and they can gain lane control really well.
I'm a big fan of Freya. I got that from Pain, or some. That's like how like everyone started playing Freya. Like I used to play Freya a lot because I don't know, like I find it really hard for anyone to deal with her. And then obviously you got the Apollo, the Rama, and there's like very situational picks like the Muslim Count I like.
The best gods for my role are Apollo, Rama, Freya, and Anhur. And the main reason they are is because they have great hyper carry potential late game, and they're also really big bullies in lane.
Late game, it's all about positioning. You need to look for a position, so you don't leave your team vulnerable, but at the same time you need to be ready to sweep their backline and kill their vulnerable targets. It's no good if you're just hitting the tanks all the time. You need to actually kill the valuable targets. So gods like Apollo and Ram are pretty good for that because they can hit the backline without putting themselves, by using ultimate. So.
I come into team fights later than the rest of my team. I try to go for their backline immediately and blow one person up.
Hunter is one of the strongest roles. They can dish out 800 crits. And so a lot of time you're just focusing the person that's in front of you and making them get out of the way. And a lot of damage you're going to be putting on is to either other hunters or mages. That's where your prime damage is going to be coming from. So you kind of want to pop your sprint 3, get around the team fight, try to stay on the edges because you don't want to get in melee ranges of anybody else, and then just try to put out as much damage as possible.
I would say it's the last game against Cog Red when I was Freya, and I just kind of went off the entire game and hyper carried, and we first blooded Snoopy in lane, and after that it was just game over. It was amazing.
Memorable moments. Against, I think it was SK in the wildcards that got us to qualify here. There was a big team fight where I managed to get a significant Ram ult, all 3 shots on someone in the back line, and we won the fight. Probably because the carry just got obliterated straight away, so that was pretty memorable for me.
When we lost against Signitas the first time, and I actually played really poorly that game, and that kind of stuck with me, and I just wanted to practice and get better and never lose because of that again.
All right, folks, we are back here at the Alienware Analyst Desk. There you can see how important that hunter role is. It's so critical for a team. Obviously, all 5 roles are super critical for any team. That goes without saying. That's basically a John Madden comment right there.
Stop giving Allied compliments. Okay?
I really like this guy. I really like this guy. This guy, that guy, really like that guy. No, I'm just messing. I kind of sort of like you too.
He's all right, but that guy.
You're right. Guy. I don't care what they say about you, though, man. You're a good guy.
I didn't really ask you guys were stand-up comedians. This guy's the worst.
We're sitting now.
Huh?
We're sitting.
Oh, sitting comedian.
We're sit-down comedian. That's messed up because he got the term right.
We have fun here at the Analyst Desk, guys. The Alienware Analyst Desk. And obviously, with the Constellation match done, we have so many things to look forward to. The grand finals coming up a little bit later. It's of course going to be Cognitive Prime and Titan. And with SK going into 4th place, they're going to pull home about $261,000. And that is no small amount of money by far. Nope. 390, just over that there for Cognitive Red taking that matchup. Again, another big chunk of change, but it gets so much bigger than that. We're going to get into the finals a little bit later today. It shows how much talent there really is in Smite.
Yeah, really. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed about watching was this young man that we're actually going to check out right now is Dagars or Dagars. This guy right here, just the Hunbats came through yet again. Dryber, just set this up for us.
So he's being very patient here. He pops the ultimate to spread them out, and you can see that he's using his ultimate more for a single target purpose. He wants to single someone out and prevent the counter initiation. You see, he's so focused on the right target. And this is what makes Cognitive Red such a powerful team. You see they're switching and focusing the same target at the same time. This is something that newer players just don't really grasp right away, and they're always attacking different targets, but it's always good to focus all your damage on one person, get them dead, and then move on to someone else. And you can see that even though he's got a perfect lineup on someone, in his ear, he'll hear his teammates, hey man, we're switching to someone else. We're switching to someone else. Let's grab Amir. And he just goes, oh, okay, Amir, without a thought. I mean, it's so disciplined. I loved how focused Gars can be when he's under pressure.
If you could hear the voice comms, I'm telling you, I can promise you, it will be like something like, Amir, Shucks, I don't always switch,
switch.
Everyone just turns around, forget what you're doing, just help the team out, and that's what makes a great team.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was your Alienware play of the game there. Again, Dagars just having a great showing, and I want to see more of that Hunbats from Dagars. Everyone talks about that Thor, but Hungars.
Hungars
kind of sounds like Hungard. That's not bad. I give myself a cookie for that.
Well,
one.
I think Cognitive Red, one thing they do very well is controlling the map, and you can see it here on the screen. And again, even though that match, very little presence from SK at all, but it really contrasts well to the placement stage we saw on Friday. This was still 60% to 40%, even though SK was so beaten down, and that shows how close this match really is, even though the numbers seemed like it wasn't.
Yeah, there's shades of greatness there.
That's right.
It's like SK just needs to fully realize
50
it.
of them.
Just looking at this mid camp control, it's disgusting. 93% control in mid camps at this level of play should never be able to happen. I don't even know. I mean, how can you compete when the other team just keeps pulling ahead in XP?
Honestly, it just seemed like SK crumbled and they kind of gave up inside. And I know they were trying to give it their all, but I think morale was at an extreme low. And you could tell 100% by this game that they just had very little important objective control. They just weren't doing too hot. I feel bad.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing for them as well. I mean, obviously, no Goal Fury, you know, for SK Gaming. Fire Giant just going over there to Cog Red. It was just full control.
I said at the start of this week that SK is kind of like they need to live off of the hype. And if they start losing games, they're just going to keep losing games. And it's exactly what happened these 3 days, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah. And I had them to win the first game. I thought that, you know, like they would be able to catch Cog Red maybe off guard because they ended up winning that best of 1. But then you just think about it like, wait a minute, Cog Red, like they studied that loss. And the fact that SK just fed into that game 2 there, just gave it to them. It's like, oh, you want to play the same exact thing? Guess what? The same exact thing's going to happen. And that's just like, you know, it's...
Fool me once.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. And,
I feel like if NA taught Europe anything so far, is that Hercules is still a great solo laner. He kind of fell off the meta in EU for a while. I expect him to be picked up more during Season 2 if he stays as he is.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how going into Season 2 with all the changes, how the meta changes and will shift into like these great solo laners, like how they will adapt. Because honestly, it's just that's really been the key of every single game so far, as we've seen. It's like these solo lane players are making the key rotations to Gold Fury, the key rotations to middle, making the plays happen, becoming unstoppable forces. And honestly, I think the one thing we haven't seen is like besides Ataraxia just popping off that one game, we haven't really seen too many Star Hunter plays, like something that would make Zatman Senpai be like, like I've done that, you know, like
we
stuff
almost
like that.
had one. Reels was flying over 5 people by himself in a very dangerous situation. He almost went in and died by himself, but he didn't.
That would have been cool.
It's close. Could have Zatman that real hard.
But I'm really looking forward to the finals, for sure. Just because I'm really excited for that matchup.
Yeah, you have like any like cream for Zatman as well? The cream that we were giving, you know.
Oh, I have some left, yeah.
You have
some
some cream left? Okay,
Yeah.
you should definitely
Some
get
burnt
that
cream?
just down, send it over to him.
Yeah, I'll
There
give
you
some
go.
to them,
Shout out to Zatman. I love you,
No
Steve.
problem. I got some for Ally too, you know. He didn't make it either, so.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fighting words.
All right, wow.
Fighting words. This is uncomfortable here, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean,
Okay,
I feel bad because it's like all of Europe got knocked out because they picked Ymir on purpose. So, like, he's got to hit me with a little bit of something.
Oh.
It happens. It happens.
Goodness gracious.
It's good.
You guys, man. Okay. You know what? I mean, honestly, it's been a great time here, you know, at the Smite World Championships. We thank everyone for joining us here. The finals still set for the 2:30 p.m. Or 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know why I thought a.m. 2:30 p.m. Eastern time slot between Cognitive Prime and Titan. Really looking forward to that matchup. I can't wait. Should be a good one.
Yeah.
Drybear, I guess, you know, any thoughts before we throw it over to Kelly?
You know, I think that it shows how much depth there is beyond what we thought. Everyone thinks, okay, Smite, you pick your god, it's an action game, you play it. And I think the one thing you take away from today is this is a MOBA. This is all about mental state, picks and bans, strategy. It has the action elements, but it blends it perfectly with the strategy and the thought process. And if you don't have both, you're gonna lose out. So, you know, I wanna know what the players think about that. So let's throw it over to Kelly and see where their heads are at.
Welcome, guys. I'm here joined by Snoopy from Cogred once more. First off, let me say congratulations on 3rd place. You guys just won $400,000. And I know it's cliche of me to ask, but what's the first thing you're going to spend it on?
Probably like a new house for myself or a new, at least apartment. I want to like get out and live by myself and keep on gaming.
So you guys played SK on Friday and you lost, but today you guys went 2-0 against them. What changed from then?
We studied our game and we watched it back a couple times, and we realized that the Ao Kuang was something we've never really gone against, especially with the strength that Zyro's put into it. And I think taking that out of his hands and putting him in something that he's not as comfortable with really helped us pull that game out.
Now, Herc seems high priority. Give me a rundown as to why.
Divios, man. He takes those big gods and he does well with them. I don't know how, but he just controls the solo lane. You just give him something that can tank towers.
All right. So I know your sister team's about to be playing in the finals, but be honest, who do you think has this?
Prime all day, 3-0.
3-0? All right, is there anything you else want to say to the fans and everyone watching?
Keep playing Smite. I just want to say thanks to hi-rez, Cognitive Red, David Fry, Matty Pocket, and shout out to Bosco Syrup.
Thank you so much, Snoopy. And guys, we have something very special for you planned up next. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break and watch a video of Know Your God.
There used to be a great town. Holy shit, that's a lot of people.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to a very special Smite World Championship edition of Know Your Enemy. If you haven't seen this series before, in each episode we take an in-depth look at a specific god. For instance, today we're going to be talking about Isis. So by the end of this video, if you're a beginner, you should at least know how to handle yourself when you find an Isis on the enemy team. Now, odds are, if you're here in Atlanta for the Smite World Championships, you probably know enough about how to play against an Isis where you probably don't need to watch this video, but there are some of you out there who still need some help. Especially that guy. No, the one in the blue. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the guide. Again, today we're going to be talking about Isis, the goddess of magic. Alright, so the first thing we always look at in these videos is a graph that shows a visual representation of what that specific god is good at. Obviously, today we're looking at Isis. So the first thing that stands out is obviously her damage, utility, and control are on the upper ends of the graph. Her mobility and defense are on the lower ends of the graph, but she does actually show something on the graph for healing. Obviously, if a god does not have any healing abilities, they will show nothing on this graph. So it's always nice to see a god that has at least a little bit of everything and still excels in one or two areas. And now that we know where Isis stands on the graph, let's go ahead and take a look at her abilities and figure out why the graph looks this way. Now, when we talk about the abilities, we always assume that you at least know how the abilities work, so you've at least done your due diligence and looked up the abilities of the god to see exactly how they operate. Or at least you've played enough against the god where you can kind of see an ability coming and know a little bit about what that ability does. So now that you kind of understand how this section of the video is going to flow, let's go ahead and talk about Isis's passive, Funeral Rites. This is a very simple passive. Essentially, when an enemy dies within range of Isis, she gains 1 stack. She can have up to 10 stacks, and each of those stacks gives her and all of the allies around her 2 HP 5 and 2 MP 5 per stack for a total of up to 20 HP 5 and 20 MP 5. Now, the drawback to this ability is that she loses all of her stacks when she dies. Now, this passive can be really important in a game mode like Assault, where HP 5 and MP 5 are more important because you can't go back to the well and regain your health and mana. Also, Isis can gain these stacks a lot faster than you might think because she does not have to specifically get the kill. So while this passive is not game-breaking by any stretch of the imagination, it does actually help out more than you think when it comes to healing and sustain. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about Isis's first ability, Wing Gust. At first glance, this is just an ability that shoots out 4 projectiles. However, there are many subtle nuances to this ability that you would not know about unless you read the description very carefully. So, in addition to her shooting out 4 projectiles, the entire time she's doing that, she is channeling the ability, meaning that at any time during that ability, she can be interrupted by a stun or a silence and knock her out of it. That is a big advantage for you if you're playing against Isis, and a big disadvantage for you if you're playing as Isis. Now also, while she's channeling this ability, she gains a 25% movement speed increase and is immune to the backpedal penalty, meaning that she goes as fast backwards as she does forwards. Now the addition of the 25% movement speed increase and the fact that she can move as fast backwards as she does forwards mean that while she's channeling this ability, she can actually be kind of hard to hit. During this ability, she moves in a way that a lot of the other gods in the game can't or don't move. Now again, in addition to that, still, she's immune to root and knockback effects while she's channeling. So you can start to see why her utility on that graph was so high. A lot of her abilities do a ton of things. Now let's talk about her second ability called Spirit Ball. Now when I'm watching new players play Isis, the one thing I notice is that they don't understand that once Isis casts this ability, she can detonate that ability at any time, meaning that you can let it run its full course and go its maximum distance, or at any time while the ball is traveling, you can detonate it to pop it early. Now the one thing you need to know about that is that the further the ball travels, the more damage it does and the longer it stuns, up to a maximum of 1.5 second stun and 50% extra damage. Other than those two things, it's a fairly straightforward ability. Now let's talk about our third ability, Dispel Magic. This ability does no damage, but this is where Isis is going to gain a lot more utility. A lot like Wing Gust, this is one of those abilities where if you haven't read the description, you're like, huh, she silenced me. I guess that's all that does. However, it's also going to slow you for 35% and steal your magical protection. What that means is you're going to lose magical protection and Isis is going to gain magical protection. So again, a silence, a slow, you lose magic protection, she gains it, tons of utility in this ability. And then her ultimate, Circle of Protection, and again, I'm sure you're tired of hearing this word by now, but it gives her a ton of utility. It does a massive amount of damage, a decent amount of healing, but the one thing that a lot of people forget about this ability, when you or any of your teammates are in the area of effect of Circle of Protection, you all take 15% less damage. There is a 15% damage reduction on Circle of Protection, so don't forget that. And Circle of Protection has a lot of other uses, which we will discuss here very shortly in the mechanics section. Alright, so if you haven't seen this series before, in the mechanics section, what we're going to do is discuss a few tips that are going to help you play against an Isis. Now, if you want to play Isis yourself, then make sure you reverse these tips and use them to your advantage. Now remember, this is not all of the information on Isis. These are just some of the tips that I think are the most important when you're facing her on the enemy team. First off, let's talk about Wing Gust. Now remember, I said it can be interrupted. Essentially, if you interrupt an Isis as she is using her Wing Gust, that completely eliminates 90% of her wave clear. So save your stuns and your silences and your mesmerizes or anything that's going to interrupt a channeled ability for when Isis starts using her Wing Gust. This is a surefire way to keep her in her tower losing gold. Now, if you do not have a way to interrupt her Wing Gust, understand that Wing Gust itself is a very powerful wave clearing ability. By level 4-ish, she can clear an entire wave with one Wing Gust. There are a lot of other probably statistically better mages that can't clear a wave that early, so this is a very strong ability if it is not interrupted. Now moving on to her second ability, Spirit Ball. First off, the projectile of this ability moves extremely slowly, but the detonation point of this ability is actually fairly large. So while this is a slow-moving ability, it's surprisingly tricky to dodge. One thing you might see a good Isis do is to wait until you start auto-attacking. Therefore, you have now slowed yourself due to the movement speed reduction during auto-attacks, making the Spirit Ball much easier to hit. Depending on the distance that Isis is trying to hit you with that Spirit Ball, it may be an impossibility for you to get out of the detonation range if you are auto-attacking. Now be very careful getting hit by Isis's Spirit Ball because this is one of her two setup abilities. Isis can smack you with a Spirit Ball and then as you're coming out of the stun, hit you with Dispel Magic to silence and slow you, making for an absolutely nasty gank. If she's playing mid and her jungler is just waiting in the wings in the jungle ready for her to hit that Spirit Ball, there's a very good chance you're not going to get out of that gank. Now she can also use those abilities in reverse order, and actually that makes her Spirit Ball easier to hit. She can silence and slow you, and then as you are coming out of the silence, she can hit you with the Spirit Ball for the stun, essentially doing the exact same thing. If she's within range of the Dispel Magic, it makes sense for her to use her Dispel Magic first because she's going to get a damage bonus due to the fact that she's reducing your magical protections with Dispel Magic. However, she may be out of range of Dispel Magic and have to use her Spirit Ball to make up the distance that it's going to have to travel to hit you. Now, while we're on that topic, remember, the further the Spirit Ball travels, the more damage it's going to do and the longer you're going to be stunned. So a max range Spirit Ball can be absolutely devastating. But from Isis's point of view, that can be very hard to do if the person you're attacking is paying attention. Now, since we're kind of mixing abilities back and forth talking about Spirit Ball and Dispel Magic, I do want to touch on one thing about Dispel Magic. At max rank, this ability steals 30% protections. Now, Isis steals that 30% protections from every single person she hits, meaning that if she happens to hit all 5 of your party members, she's going to gain a 150% increase in her magical protections. Now, in addition to that, she also gains magical protections from any minions or creep camps that she may hit. So in a team fight game mode like Arena, where there's a large clusters of enemies, both minion and god, she can easily gain 1 to 200 magic protections in a split second. Now let's move on and talk about her ultimate, Circle of Protection. As I said during the discussion of the abilities, this ability can be used in several different ways. First off, this can be used as a finisher. How many times have you been in a scenario where you're just getting ready to get a kill, and right before that last auto attack hits, it slips through your fingers and the god gets away? This ability has decent range on it, and it's got a massive size, so it reaches much further than your auto attack. So if you've used all of your abilities and you can't just get that last hit on that god, you can throw down Circle of Protection, pop it early, and get the kill. Now that might seem like a waste because you're not gaining the heal from it, you're not gaining the damage reduction from it, but in that scenario, it's used just like any other damaging ult to finish off a god. In addition to that, it can be used as a nuke in a team fight because when you throw Circle of Protection down in a team fight, there's going to be so much damage going around, the ult's going to charge extremely quickly. As soon as that ult hits max charge, you can pop it, doing mass damage to all enemies and mass healing to all allies in the area, and that will definitely turn the tides of that battle. It can also be used to help get objectives, like say the Fire Giant. Right before the Fire Giant uses his lava ability, you can throw down Circle of Protection, reducing the damage of the lava, charging it up very quickly because everybody in there is taking damage, popping it once it hits max charge to not only deal massive damage to the Fire Giant, but it'll also heal all of the allies that took damage from the lava. And last but not least, it can be used as a very effective zoning tool because nobody wants to step into the large glowing circle. So if you happen to be running from a gank, you don't have a lot of mobility, so you might just want to stay and fight. Throw your Circle of Protection down, stun them, use your Wing Gust, let it fill up a little bit, pop it to deal damage to the person who's chasing you and heal you, hopefully silence them to get away, or that might kill them. So it can be used defensively as well as offensively. And last but not least, remember that Isis does not have a lot of escape. The only thing that Isis has is the ability to stop you from getting to her. She can silence you, she can stun you, she can zone you a Circle of Protection, but she does have a 25% movement increase from Wing Gust. So, when Isis's Wing Gust is on cooldown, remember that unless she has Combat Blink or Sprint, she will only be as fast as regular walking speed. So there are definite chances to take advantage of her low mobility. So there you have it, guys. That's about it for the video. If you are a beginner, hopefully this video has helped you out a little bit, and now you know what to do when you see an Isis on the enemy team. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SmiteGame, and check out the rest of the series. At the creation of this video, we had 10 to 12 other videos you can check out, so go learn, you crazy kids. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day at the Smite World Championships.
Good coffee, dude.